How's your off season been so far, and what's your anticipation for when things get going for real in a couple weeks?
I'm anxious to see the rest of our guys.
Yeah.
You know, we had a lot of guys come in the summer, and had some guys missing in spring football. So we got quite a few guys that I haven't necessarily seen before perform or practice or anything like that. So excited to see everybody and just kind of see how we've progressed since spring football. You know, I know we've got a lot of confidence going with kind of our group right now with how things are going in the summer and player-led practices that they're kind of doing on their own have been going really well for us. So just excited to get back out there with them.
Has Cade been doing well in leading some of these player-led sessions and been enthusiastic about what he learned in the spring and taking it into the fall?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of been through this before in terms of bringing in an offense and kind of transitioning some teams, and so it's cool at this point in time to really see how the buy-in is just taking another step with our guys and just some of that confidence within them of running this and where things are becoming muscle memory and they're not having to think as much. And so this is kind of a fun time to really see how they've accelerated mentally, probably more than anything, compared to when they first learned this. But he's been doing a great job. We've got good leadership really on our whole team, you know, but I think offensively we've got, you know, kind of a cast of leaders that have done a great job this summer.
With all the wide receivers that were out for the spring, getting them back to the ball, just how are you expecting to kind of get them up to speed, learning and wrapping this offense?
Just do what we do. I mean, we practice it. We do the same stuff over and over again. It's all about repetitions with how we go about our business offensively. And, you know, those guys have done a lot of work this summer to kind of catch up, you know, with what they could, missing spring football. But, I mean, that's what we do anyways. And these guys are going to get a lot of repetitions here very soon.
Garrett, you talked about this as kind of a can't-miss opportunity. I guess you've been here in Clemson for a while now. Do you feel, you know, why you took on this opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, everything's been great. I mean, it really has. You know, we've got players that we're excited about, players that have played together a lot. You know, we've got a great deal of continuity, you know, really on our whole team. So that's exciting. Then the staff has been unbelievable. The buy-in has been great from a staff perspective. And so, yeah, I mean, everything kind of thought it would be, it's been. So that's been, you know, been awesome for me to actually experience.
Coach, obviously you have a great running back tandem in Shipley and Maffa, but with what you saw in the sprint from Thomas and Keith Adams, are you pretty excited about the depth that you have in that position?
I am. You know, I think those guys, you know, obviously Phil and Will are forces to be reckoned with. You know, and I think they're going to take a huge step from what we did this spring. I mean, they should and they will. Yeah, but then the rest of the guys, I think, are going to bring a lot of depth to us. Then we brought two new guys in this summer that, you know, may give us a little different kind of spark at times or some different skill set that I think is going to make, you know, that room really well-rounded room, which is very important for us and what we do.
Are there any sort of unanswered questions you have left over from spring that you're looking to kind of resolve or figure out overall?
Yeah, there's always things, you know, you need to get better at and identify. Again, I think the biggest thing for us is seeing pretty quickly in fall camp with everybody that we have back practicing, you know, who our best guys are. You know, what can they handle? What can they get really good at? That's the things that we got to identify, you know, fairly quickly in fall camp.
Have you seen Antonio Williams continue to develop this offseason and just grow from what he did in his freshman season?
Yeah, I know he's gotten faster. I mean, the guy's physically, he's in a better place than what he's been at. You know, that guy's, sky's the limit for him. I mean, he was really, really good for us, really productive this spring. I thought he was consistent the whole way through, but I think physically and probably his confidence level is growing. And he's a confident kid anyway. I mean, the guy's made, you know, a lot of plays here already, but he's going to continue to make a lot more for us. But I think physically he's really starting to buy into to the importance of that for him in his position.
Garrett, a guy like Beaux Collins who started out strong his sophomore year, but the injury with his shoulder, how has he recovered from that, and where have you seen him grow this summer and spring?
Beaux physically looks great. I mean, he's in a really good place physically. I know guys are excited about what he's been doing, throwing sessions and different things this summer, but Beau's, you know, from my interaction this spring, just seeing him this summer, Beau's a sharp guy. So I think mentally he's going to really kind of just hit the ground running, so to speak. So I'm really excited to see Beaux out there.
Garrett, you talked about how you've done this before, you've transitioned offenses before. This is a championship team that you're joining, right? How much of a transition has it been? Have there been a lot of different things that you've had to say, okay, well, we need to do this a little bit different than what we were doing?
I mean, there's differences, and it's kind of like what we talked about in the spring. I mean, terminology, how you teach some things, maybe minimizing what you're doing and just kind of honing it in a little bit more. I mean, just those are kind of philosophical things, probably more than anything, and a mentality. But yeah, I mean, you got to tweak things and make it your own. And I think that's what we're trying to do right now.
Coach Davis Allen's gone now. Jake Briningstool is ready to be the guy. Can he be about as special a tight end as coach?
He's unique. He's obviously he's long. He's very rangy. He's athletic. He can really run, and one of those guys that you expect to make contested catches. With his size and his position. But yeah, I think he's really settled in this summer and kind of knows what to expect now with our offense. But Jake's got a great skill set, there's no doubt about it. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do this fall.
Behind him, you got St. Dennis. Thanks both. Made a couple of catches in the spring game. Do you think he and Zach provide a little bit of depth behind those guys?
Yeah, I mean, they need to. They're going to get pushed this fall. You got two new tight ends that walked in the building this summer. Some young guys that physically look really, really good. Impressive looking dudes. So those second, third, fourth kind of tight ends right now, I mean, it's really going to be a battle. And, that's really going to help shape that room, I think. So it's going to be great competition, here in the next month.
Looking back on Cade's 2 starts against UNC and Tennessee, I guess, what were your takeaways of reviewing that film with him by yourself, kind of evaluating?
Yeah, I mean, probably he's not scared of the moment. And I already kind of probably knew that about him. But the kid's a competitor. There's no questions. He's ultra competitive. The moment's not going to be too big for him. I just think that's kind of in his DNA. And so you saw some great things that he did. And, we also got to see some things where there's going to be some, I won't say growing pains, but just some learning that's going to happen that comes with experience. And that's just the nature of the beast at that position.
Garrett, can you speak to how you can help this offense take the next step, like some of the things you've seen and some of your goals for this offense in terms of getting them to the next level? How do they take that next step?
I think our whole approach is just, we've got to be physical. I mean, that we're not going to lose that. We're going to be a physical team. But I just think the consistency of what we do, and it doesn't have to be really complicated. We expect to have great players here at Clemson, and I think it's exciting just to be simple and be in attack mode and just let our guys really play and be free. I mean, that's kind of our whole approach with them, and just our players taking on that mentality. So, that's really what we're emphasizing to our guys right now.
You talked about Antonio Williams, and even on this whole roster, there's a lot of South Carolina and North Carolina natives just from the area, and we also have Jarvis Green, also from Dutch Fork. What have been your first impressions of the homegrown talent?
Man, I mean, those guys they're fun kids, first of all. I mean, they've all got great personalities, and they want to be here. Clemson's important to them, so you can just kind of feel that from those guys, I think. You can feel it from everybody, but you kind of have this little different feel from them, but those guys have been great. It's great to have them on our team and to help us kind of on the recruiting trail too, of guys that we're really on locally that see them coming to Clemson, that obviously helps. So they've been a big part of what we're doing right now.
With a guy like Jake Briningstool, who's looking to be the feature tight end of his offense, what do you envision his role to be coming to fall?
I mean, he's got to be a difference maker for us. I mean, obviously you want him to be the big tight end that can make possession catches and be a force in the red zone and be a matchup problem. But he's going to be asked to do things in the running game where he's got to give us a spark there and give us some value and in our running attack. So those guys are asked to do a lot in our offense. I mean, the quarterback and the tight ends, those are the two positions that probably have to learn the most with what we do. And that's probably the case for most offenses, but certainly ours. So he's going to have a lot on his plate.
You're only in the Big 12 for a year at TCU, and fair or unfair, they kind of have that reputation of not being a defensive league. Just curious what your opinions are of the ACC, the defenses in this league, and is it a different kind of challenge?
I just think probably schematically some things are probably a little bit different just in general from conference to conference, but I mean, there's some damn good defenses in the Big 12. I don't know if I buy into that whole misconception. And there's some really good defenses, obviously, in this league. And with where we're at geographically, you're always going to face probably D linemen that are some freaks, and there's some real players. So, yeah, I mean, this is a part of the world where defense is key. There's no doubt about it.
Coach, what are some of the qualities that you're trying to emphasize just coming in to build that trust with the offense?
Kind of same thing, a little bit. I guess my answer is just trying to be consistent in our approach as coaches, what we're trying to relay to them, giving our kids freedom and giving them ownership. I think that's key. I mean, I was watching the quarterback show with Mahomes on Netflix right now, and the Chiefs are giving Coach Reed's giving them a period in practice just to come up with whatever play they want to do as players. And so, I think that's a little bit of kind of what we got going on here in terms of just giving your players ownership, and so they can buy in even more. I think is always kind of critical, especially in year one of kind of a new offense or new transition.
Cade in the Orange Bowl, Cade did a lot of running backwards. I know he was under the gun a lot under a severe pass rush. And you can get away with that in the high school level, but probably not this level. Have you addressed that with him a little bit? Or?
Yeah, I mean, he knows where he's got to get better, and you got to do it in real time. You can sit there and we can all go up there and watch tape and sit there in the air conditioner for 45 minutes and talk about what he needs to get better at. So he knows it's just creating that muscle memory and just gaining that experience in order to do that.
Garrett, you're the new guy on staff coming off a championship game appearance. You feel pressure in this role to deliver?
I just think I do every year, probably. I just think you always put more pressure on yourself than anybody else is going to. So I just think that's the nature of what we do, and that's kind of those positions you want to be in, right? But I wouldn't say any more than I probably have any other year.
Okay, I can't hear everybody. Sorry, and I talk so loud.
That's all right.
Your assistants talk about the confidence that you bring in, and to come into a staff where everybody else knows each other, they play together, and for you to walk in, what was that like, and where does that confidence, especially, I mean, you're 33, you're younger than all those guys too, like where does that come from? What's your makeup? What's gotten you?
Lucky to be around a lot of great people, early in my career, and how I was brought up in my hometown with my parents and the coaches that I had at a young age. I mean, that's definitely a part of it. And then Coach Leach and just kind of my background and into coaching. And then I just think at the end of the day, just belief in myself and belief in what we do, and knowing that even through some thick and thin or some good times and bad times, that what we do is enough. And I think if we have the buy-in and we find ways to adjust when we need to, but just knowing that even when things get tough, if you stay the course, we're going to be okay. And I just think a total belief in that is probably where a lot of it comes from.
Has there been a moment so far in this where you went, a moment where you realized like this was 100% the right move, or things clicked, or you were like, all right, these are my guys, this is my staff, my players, whatever?
Yeah, I mean, last year, transition over here, I mean, just all of it is such a complete whirlwind, when you have a long season like we did last year, and you come right into this, I mean, you get zero break. And so that's a long, for me personally, it's been a long 2 years. Changed jobs from SMU, went to TCU to here, and so just for me and my family, it's been a long 2 years from that standpoint. It's been unbelievable. it's been hectic. But to answer your question, I would say probably once we actually got into spring football, just once you actually get on the field and you're practicing, you're with your guys, you're with your coaches out there figuring it out, you know, that's probably when I guess it kind of settled in. Maybe it was probably that point in time.
Spring game is one thing. How much have you been practicing running downhill, getting ready to do it 80,000 fans?
I'm glad I did it at the spring game. I needed a rehearsal, that's for sure. Yeah, the little simulation in the lobby over there, it doesn't do it justice, that's for sure. But that was pretty cool. You know, I always kind of heard about that tradition. Obviously, I've seen it on TV, and thinking it wasn't going to be that big of a deal for a spring game and all that. And then we did, and I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. Yeah, need some more practice probably. I've been doing the Peloton, so I've been trying to get my legs ready.
You're ready then, yeah.
Shipley, just as a player, he was always to see it 3 positions, first person to do that. Just your evaluation of him and how he fits in.
Of Will?
Yeah, Will, yep.
Yeah, he's a special player. You know, he's versatile, he's tough. He can do things outside the tackles. He can do things in space, and obviously he's a guy that he's fearless enough to shove it up in there in between the tackles. So he's a unique skill set. His mentality's awesome. You know, he's going to be a guy that I think is going to be asked to do, you know, quite a few different things within our offense. So that's fun to kind of see what he can handle, and whatever he can handle, we're probably going to keep throwing it that way at him. But we got to be smart, not overload him too. So that's the fine line as a coach. You got to always take it into account.
How have you done that in the past, or how do you anticipate doing that? Because you're kind of not wanting to overload anybody, touch count, that type of stuff.
You're always keeping track in fall camp. You're keeping track of what you're doing in season, obviously, and just so everything for us comes back down to repetitions. You know, can you practice it enough? Is this things he can handle, be consistent, and execute at a high rate? And whenever you can't, you know, you probably need to adjust as a coach. That's with everybody. That's with everything. So whatever we can execute at a high rate, that's what we'll keep doing. Hey, Mike.
Were you fishing recently? I think I saw a tweet.
Yeah.
You're interested in hunting and fishing. How's that been from a lifestyle perspective? You mentioned the family transition. What's it been like for y'all?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Drive not even an hour from where we live, and you're in the mountains and you're fly fishing in a river. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I think one of our coaches went and rafted with a few of our players over the summer. So you're just in a unique location, as we all know, if you live here, of what's accessible and the lakes and all that. It's been unbelievable. Yeah, we took full advantage in our time off up here around Clemson for about 10 days. So it's been good.
Talking about running down the hill, have you started to get kind of a sense of how deep tradition runs here?
Kind of piece by piece, you know. I mean, it's almost like every day I kind of pick up maybe on something from a tradition standpoint. But yeah, I mean, you can tell it's some deep roots around here. That's for sure.
Talking about special plays with cones and all that stuff. Would you ever do one of those circle things?
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty intriguing. There's a lot going on. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm all for creativity and kind of thinking out of the box and all those things. So those guys are the kings of it.
Yeah. Or the fridge, package.
Yeah.
They call that.
Yep. Nah, we're
Jumbo package.
Yep, jumbo package, all of it. Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely, I think, have some pieces where we can get creative if we want to.
Who's your jumbo guy?
I don't know. We're gonna have an audition. I've had about 5 guys already come up to me wanting to be in it, so we may have to have an audition here in fall camp.
Are you more of a trout fisherman or a bass fisherman?
I would say it's not like I fish all the time, but I would say if I had to choose, probably more of a trout fisherman.
Yeah.
You know, I'm kind of into the fly fishing right now and all that, so that's kind of my kick right now.
Did you do a lot of fishing as a kid growing up? Or not?
No, I grew up in Muleshoe, Texas. There's no water. So yeah, this whole lake thing and fishing and all that is something that I didn't do a whole lot of growing up. So I'm taking advantage now.
A lot has been made over the years of Dabo hiring former players, and it was big news for a lot of people that he went outside of that circle and brought you in. Being in it, what do you see as the value? And as you look around this program that's built up guys that are born and bred in that tradition and all of that, what's the benefit of having some of those guys around and helping form your program and your department around that?
I mean, obviously these guys just know Clemson and know the program, know what it means to be here and go to school here, play here, all those things. And so, those guys have helped me and maybe kind of just accelerating me fitting into kind of what goes on here, just our process and Coach Sweeney and everything he believes in, just all of that. And so you can tell it's a tight group. Everybody has known everyone forever. Yeah, I'm definitely the total outcast that way. But
they welcome you in.
Oh yeah, no, they've been unbelievable. They've truly been unreal for our family, for sure.
Do you see the connection kind of on a different level that they're able to have, or a buy-in from the players? Because these guys know it. They were here. They literally helped build this facility.
Yeah, I mean, you just compare it to other programs. It's just the continuity factor. I mean, that's the bottom line. There's continuity here, and there has been for a long time, and that's just not the case really anywhere else. From a football staff standpoint, I mean, that just doesn't happen anymore. So that's the bottom line, where we're definitely different here.
Has that been a transition for you, Garrett, in the sense that Clemson's not for everybody and everybody's not for Clemson? That you have to recruit the right guy, not maybe somebody who's overly invested in NIL or transfer portal or other issues like that to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely different from places I've been and just some different thought processes, but that's what makes it cool as a coach, and you come into different situations and different experiences. Is now I get to kind of see how other people do it and how Clemson has had sustained success for so long, and so that's part of kind of a growing perspective for me.
Coach, everybody's seen Cade perform what he did at the end of last year. What's the level of quarterback competition for starters this coming season or this year?
I just think there always is. I mean, no matter what you did last year and no matter what you did in spring football, I mean, you got to come out and you got to be able to do that in fall camp where we have enough confidence in you to move forward and continue to give you reps, and that's just how it always goes. Everybody in here has seen starters that started the first game and then they get pulled at halftime or whatever. I mean, it's just that's the nature of the beast. So I think they always know that there's always competition in that room.
You obviously knew Cade in high school, being in Texas. Just do you remember when you first met him or encountered him, and what your first impressions of him were in high school?
Talking to him on the phone was really our first interaction a few times early on in his recruitment. Kind of just the same kid he is now, thinking back to it. But I never really got to be around him too much in person, but certainly remember seeing him. Their high school was on TV a fair amount, especially in the playoffs down there in Texas, and so was always kind of able to watch him in their playoff run at Westlake. But he's just an impressive, steady kid, and he's a guy that's been brought up with a really good family, and I don't think he's probably changed just a whole lot, probably in their eyes for sure.
When you're coming in new and taking over an offense, just how do you approach kind of establishing a relationship with a quarterback like that and kind of building on that?
Just being who I am, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if that's maybe the right thing. I guess it is the right thing, but I don't know if that's the best. But yeah, just building trust with them in the meeting room, on the field, and then certainly you got to do some things outside of football where you're just being a mentor for them, and just being someone they can trust outside of X's and O's talk. And I always think that's important, especially at that position. And hopefully trying to show them how to lead other guys on their team, I think is always important. And so our quarterback room is easy to do that with. It's a lot of really good guys in there, some guys that have been in college football for a number of years now, so I kind of like some of the older guys we have and then some of the younger guys. I think it's a good mix we have from a personality standpoint in that room.
You've been around some really good college quarterbacks before, but maybe not the guys who had the tools to be a future first-round pick or whatever. Is Cade different, or do you see, just in terms of what he brings to the table, can be a different level of his talent ability?
There's no question he has an elite skill set. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Each quarterback's different, but there's no doubt, denying his talent level, and I think his competitiveness and his want-to is elite as well. And so you put all those things together and you give a guy some confidence and put him in position to be successful, you know, the sky's the limit for him. There's no doubt about it.
How are you and your brother Lincoln similar in terms of coaching, and how much of maybe of an influence has he been on you?
He has spent a year, spent 2 years coaching with them together at East Carolina, and so that was early on in my coaching career, and just being exposed to how we did things there at ECU and having some success definitely, you know, is a part of who I am as a coach now. But yeah, I would say probably more similarities than differences. You know, with what we do and how you coach, what you believe in, how you practice, how you carry yourself. I mean, just all those things I would say we're probably more similar than not.
Garrett, how will this offense define success moving forward? How will this offense define success moving forward?
Score more than they do. You know, I mean, whatever it takes. I don't want to be labeled as we're just going to go ultra fast and that's it. I want to dictate tempo. We want to be explosive, but we also want to be methodical and shove it down to people's throats at times. And so I just hope that we're going to be versatile that way and have a mentality where we can do that and take over games, whatever's required. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Garrett, did you get to know Shane Beamer a little bit when he was on your brother's team?
Not really. I've kind of just met him or seen him briefly a couple times, but I really haven't been around Shane too much. Saw him at the high school, South Carolina High School Association several months ago, but yeah, I haven't really been around him too much.
Dabo's been very resistant to the transfer portal. How do you feel about it? You good with that, or you think it should be used more?
Well, I just think you got to apply it to what your needs are and what's going to best fit your team. And so Clemson's situation is going to be different than a lot of other colleges, you know, in their situations. Our situation here is much different than a team that just got a new head coach and just had 20 players leave. And so, you know, you just got to take some of that stuff with a grain of salt just because we are in such a unique kind of situation and circumstances here. You know, but I think you obviously got to adjust and apply it whenever you kind of need it. You know, if you need it to help your team, then, you know, hopefully you can utilize it.
Conversation of two-way players with coaches coming out, like Misun Kelley. Is he a receiver for you guys?
Yeah, he's going to start out as receiver, and then we're certainly going to cross-train him a little bit at DB and just kind of see, as fall camp goes, kind of where he's going to help our team the earliest, you know, what's going to be most beneficial for our team. So, yeah, I love it. I've been around a few guys that have kind of done that before, but I'm all about it.
What's his best asset?
Team? Yeah, I mean, I would say so. I would say just kind of being in space and being a creator. He's kind of one of those guys, and I think watching his tape and the little I've been around him, you know, he just strikes me as kind of a fearless type of guy, you know, and so, you know, I think that's obviously a great combination for a guy you're trying to get the ball to.
One more question.
One more.
All right, I'll ask you, with Cade, the gunslinger mentality, how do you keep that in check, not to dilute his good points? What do you say and how do you coach him for that?
That's a good question. I think my belief, to answer your question, I think it's you got to present it in a way that you're not going to take away from the player that he is, right? And so, you know, extreme example is Brett Favre. You don't want to take away who Brett Favre was because he was Brett Favre. And so I just think you got to be good in meetings and coaching opportunities on the field, coaching opportunities from games of just trying to find that fine line or that balance where they can hone it in when they need to and they understand that, but you also don't take away from who they are. You know, I think that's